Welcome back, everyone. Tech experts are fighting the growing threat of so-called deepfakes. That's the name given to these videos, you may have seen them, that are manipulated to change their message or even who's in them. Here to help us sort through it all is Stan Prager from GoGeeks. Stan, good to see you. It's been a while. I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. And just during the break, as we were heading to break, it was you who was asking, what's this deal about the phone bone? And just quickly, it's apparently tendon strain when you're looking down at your phone or computer. You can develop a bone spur at the back of your skull. So be aware of that.
Well, as long as it's not in the front of my skull.
That's right. You know what I mean? You're a unicorn.
Right. That's right. Exactly.
And you know, with this
no one
new
will see that.
technology, deepfake, you could, in theory, turn someone into a unicorn.
You could do lots of
whatever
things.
you want with this stuff.
It's scary. In many cases, we've seen deepfake used as a joke. And it can be a joke, and it can be something that's humorous, and can be done with, you know, switching like an umpire and a baseball player, for instance, faces.
Sure.
You know, using face swapping
or even what
technology
they're saying, right?
Exactly. Typically, it's what they're saying. The most famous one was made by a guy named Jordan Peele, and he used President Obama. And he superimposed him over him, so that he had President Obama saying things completely uncharacteristic for President Obama.
In his voice?
In his voice, yeah.
President Obama.
And using machine learning, what they did is they noticed the intonations with President Obama when he's going to say something, you know, sad, or he's going to say something important, or he's going to say make a joke about something.
Yeah.
He would use different intonations and different gestures. So what they did is they mimicked that, and then they face swapped it, actually body swapped it over Jordan Peele. He did it not for nefarious reasons. He did it as a warning over what could happen. You'll recall the news in the last election cycle was that the Russians had created fake news, two rival camps of fake news. One promoted Black Lives Matters, and the other one opposed Black Lives Matter.
Just to stir up the pot,
trouble,
so
right?
to speak.
And they used incendiary languages on both sides in order to stir up the pot, in order to get forces angry on either side of the Black Lives Matter movement, right?
Yeah.
Now imagine if you took a prominent individual today and created a deep fake video on either side of that issue saying something really incendiary, and then it's shared on social networking. A lot of these videos are so well done, so sophisticated.
They're pretty slick,
they're almost impossible to tell. Like if you look at the Obama one, it's really impossible to tell that it's Obama, except you realize the things he's saying Obama would never have said.
And I would imagine this technology being so relatively new, it's only going to improve. And become harder and harder to tell.
Well, it has that's the scary part, and the reason I wanted to talk about it today is ahead of the election cycle in 2020, we've seen massive improvement in the sophistication since Jordan Peele did this with Obama. And we're going to get to the point where it's going to be almost impossible, even for an expert, to be able to detect a deep fake from a real, authentic one. And
that is scary.
The message, the takeaway from this is make sure that you're fact checking. You know, make sure before you jump up and down over something that you see on in Twitter or on Facebook or on Instagram, that you're fact checking. Use Snopes or something else to make sure this thing is real. Because I could see, this inspiring violence.
Well, you said imagine if. I think it's not if, it's when this is going to happen.
Yeah.
How approachable is this to the average consumer? Is it just really savvy computer geeks who can do this, or is it something that anybody can do with the right software? How ubiquitous will it become?
Well, I think if you have the right software, I think that with machine learning and AI capabilities, it's going to become easier and easier for other people to do it. Right now, it's you have to be fairly sophisticated to do it on your own. But honestly, they could make a deep fake video of you saying things that were diametrically opposed to things that you would ever say.
Sure.
And any viewer who was watching the show would never know that it wasn't
Well,
Chris
that's the scary part.
Of course.
To anyone it happens to, it could potentially get you in trouble, so you lose your job, maybe cause problems with your family. It's scary.
Especially because by the time, so let's say you could prove that it wasn't you. Chris Pisano didn't.
But the damage has already been done.
It's going to, the damage to your reputation is already done.
Your reputation is smeared.
And copies of these videos are still going to exist extant on YouTube and somewhere else.
Once it's on the internet,
for decades, right?
It's immortal,
So anybody could find it. And even though you've already proved that it was a lie, maybe you sued for damages, whatever. The point is that it's still going to be there. Somebody's going to see it one day and say, we really have to question whether this is the guy for
And
us.
that's the bottom line. Take everything with a grain of salt, and when possible, verify.
Fact check everything.
Awesome. Stan, thanks so much. Great to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you.